Afghanistan. The final US soldiers left that country around 9 hours ago, bringing to an end America's longest war. 20 years since it invaded and toppled the Taliban, that regime is now back in power and celebrated with gunfire as the last American plane left Kabul. We are told by the Americans that tens of thousands of Afghans were airlifted out of the capital over the past week, but in a country of 40 million, most are still there and nearly 20 million will never be able to leave. We're joined this morning by Babar Baloch, global spokesperson for the UN Refugee Agency, the UNHCR, who arrived in neighbouring Pakistan on Sunday. Babar Baloch, you're very welcome to Morning Ireland. Thank you for being with us. Is there any evidence yet of a mass exodus to the borders?
Thank you, Adrian. Good morning to you and to your listeners. So far, what we have seen inside Afghanistan, that the focus of displacement has remained inside. As you were mentioning, the evacuation flights have ended. The focus was too narrow when we compare it to 39 million Afghans who are inside Afghanistan. But not everyone has tried to leave the country in the past 2 decades. Afghan has somehow tried to make it work for themselves. Now they have to live with a new reality on the ground. What we have seen is, as the fighting intensified, the humanitarian needs were increasing. This year we have some 550,000 Afghans who have been displaced within their country. Majority of them women and children. Many of them need humanitarian assistance. The numbers who are arriving in the neighboring countries are not so big so far. But as Afghans try to find protection and safety for themselves, inevitably they could be looking beyond their country's borders to seek protection. It's very important that that safety, when they need it, is there.
And are the borders all around Afghanistan, are they open? Is Pakistan, where you are they accepting any refugees?
Pakistan has been home for Afghan refugees for the last 4 decades. As we speak now, there are 1.5 million registered Afghan refugees in Pakistan. There have been some movement on the border, especially the border which is linked with Pakistan's southwest province of Balochistan, which is linked to Kandahar province. We have seen some movement, but majority of these people have been those who have been coming in, and there's a lot of back and forth movement. So you will see a lot of desperate families who want to be reunited with their family members on this side, a lot of people who need medical attention. So it has been on and off, but so far what we have seen, that majority of displacement has happened inside Afghanistan, where people have been moving in kind of a circular movement. And we, UNHCR, the UN Refugee Agency, we are present in nearly 300 districts of Afghanistan with our partners, even these tough times. And during the last 40 years, we have stood by the Afghans as forces have come in and left, trying to keep our focus on people who have to deal with the consequences of conflict and failure of politics.
The UN Security Council adopted a resolution yesterday requiring the Taliban to honour a commitment it made a few days ago that Afghans would be able to travel abroad and leave Afghanistan at any time they wanted to, including by any border crossing, both air and ground. But in that resolution, they did not include a safe zone to allow humanitarian operations to continue. What's your reaction to that?
So far, what we have seen is that there doesn't seem to be regular channels for Afghans to seek safety. That's why we bring in this aspect that some Afghans will need to find shelter beyond the borders. I mean, majority of Afghan refugees have been going to the neighboring countries of Pakistan and Iran. 90% of 2.4 million Afghan refugees that are globally present right now. But we cannot expect the two neighboring countries or others in the neighborhood only to shoulder this responsibility. This is a humanitarian global responsibility which has to be shared by everyone. And the ask on all parties on the ground is, with all these uncertainties around Afghans who are just not sure what's happening, what's going to come for them. So a lot of anxiety and fear on the ground, understandably so. And if they need to seek safety across borders and elsewhere, that safety has to be there. But it's also important, with the access to the borders and beyond, also access to reach those borders and the neighboring countries as well. So respect for human rights and human life is a must. And those who are in charge on the ground, they have to let people to seek safety in case they need it.
We will leave it there for now. Thank you very much, Babar Baloch, Global Spokesperson for the UNHCR.